Welcome to a journey through chapter of humanity's past that continues to shape our world today. We delve into haunting legacy of slavery, an institution that stained societies across centuries. Beyond chains and action of lies, a story of resilience, suffering, and yielding human spirit. Join us as we uncover the echoes of painful history, seeking to understand its profound past and impact of the world we live in today across the vast landscapes of Africa. Slavery involved exploitation and control of Africans, depriving them their rights and freedom and basic human rights, and abhorrent practices that inflicts physical, emotional, and psychological suffering to Africans. Torture, danger, and other forms of abuse prevalent into their lives, perpetuating a cycle of trauma and oppression. Historically, African slaves were being abducted through various methods: kidnapping, raid on villages, wars, debt bondage, and deception. Transatlantic trade: Africans were primarily transported from Africa to Europe. Slave traders, between 10 million to 12 million across the transatlantic ocean to the American between the 16th century and 19th century. Middle Passage, usually the Brazil and Caribbean, was notorious for its brutal and overcrowded insanity. Conditions on slave ships, which hundreds of Africans were packed tightly into tied below docks for violence, about 8,000 kilometers that could last for weeks to months. Door of No Return is a powerful symbolic house of African slaves of Go Island in Senegal. It's said that they passed through the door into the ship in bounds for America and never returned to Africa. This door represents brutal legacy of transatlantic trade into irreversible separation of Africans from their homeland. During the transatlantic slave trade, about 40% of enslaved were taken into United States, passed through the Charleston Harbor, the largest port in North America. At the time, these two who survived voyages were held in various warehouses and slave markets until sold to the highest bidder, the Gadsden's Wharf, South Carolina. La Morne Brahant, a basilic monolith west coast of Mauritius, provided a temporary shelter for those escaping captivity in early 19th century, known as the Maroons built homes in the caves embedded in mountains. However, amidst the strategy and tragedy emerges narratives of resilience and strength. Descendants of those enslaved carry on tradition, reclaiming lost heritage. During slavery period emerge countless stories of resistance. The Amistad was a Spanish ship carrying kidnapped Africans who rebelled against captors in 1839. Led by Saint-Louis known as Joseph, enslaved Africans managed to break free the chains, take control of the ship, and demanded return to Africa. However, the ship was intercepted off the coast along Island in New York by the US Navy. Enslaved Africans were imprisoned. White legacy proceeding unfolded. Ultimately, the US Supreme Court ruled in favor of Africans, declaring that they had been illegally kidnapped and individuals were free and led into the return of African captives. Harriet Tubman, born into slavery in early 19th century, escaped freedom in 1849, risking her own liberty, made dangerous journey to north, helping others to escape slavery through the Underground Railroad and safe houses. Tubman's bravery, determination, and selflessness, risking her own life to rescue others from bondage, made her legendary figure in abolition of the